On March 30th, 2022, a high-ranking official from the California Public Utilities Commission, CPUC, went to the state capitol in Sacramento to speak to a panel of state lawmakers. The topic was why electricity bills are so high and how to get them under control. They could have talked about the utilities' record profits over the past 10 years and the effect they have on rising energy bills. They could have talked about how the utilities' insatiable appetite for profit drives them to build more long-distance power lines. They could have talked about how the cost of long-distance power lines are the main cause of rising energy bills. They could have talked about how our over-reliance on long-distance power lines is also making us more vulnerable to blackouts and wildfires, which increase our energy bills even more. Instead, the CPUC went after rooftop solar like the utilities want them to. Instead of acting as an independent steward of the facts, the CPUC repeated utility propaganda about rooftop solar to state lawmakers. Propaganda that was crafted from deceptive math to protect the utilities' bottom lines, not ratepayers' household budgets. And that propaganda, circulated by officials, furthered the utilities' agenda to block our rights to make energy from the sun. These officials are the people in charge of the fate of rooftop solar. Is Governor Newsom going to finally step in and take a stand for rooftop solar?
Another major driver of rate increases is the growth of behind-the-meter distributed energy resources. For example, rooftop solar. The PUC's Public Advocate's Office, for example, estimates that the annual cost shift from the existing net energy metering tariff, which encourages rooftop solar, that cost shift is about $3.4 billion in 2021.
Actually, rooftop solar is projected to save ratepayers $120 billion over the next 30 years.
Hi, I'm Dave Rosenfeld, Director of the Solar Rights Alliance. You just watched a high-ranking official with the California Public Utilities Commission repeat utility propaganda once again to powerful state lawmakers. Let's get it straight. Rooftop solar helps to save all ratepayers' money, whether or not they have solar. And here's why. When people make their own solar energy at home or at their business, the utility spends less money building and maintaining long-distance power lines. And those long-distance power lines are the main reason why we are paying out of our noses in electricity bills. So when the utility spends less on long-distance power lines, ratepayers pay less. And that's good for ratepayers. But it also cuts into utility profits, and that's what this is all about. Let me give you an example. In 2018, the state canceled $2.6 billion of long-distance power line projects because of both rooftop solar and energy efficiency. Now that's just 1 year. Over the next 30 years, rooftop solar could help to save $120 billion, according to some of the most detailed energy modeling that's ever been done. So where did that CPUC official get his numbers from? He got them from the utilities and from research companies that work for the utilities. They tend to either ignore the savings from long-distance power lines or downplay them as negligible. And the CPUC official that you watched, he knows that. And he made a choice to highlight the utilities' perspective and to omit the numerous other perspectives that are out there. And in doing so, he made the utility perspective seem like an established fact. And to illustrate, watch what happens next in this same meeting. It's only 90 seconds long, so hang in there.
Can you just clarify for the record again the cost shift and how much is costing in the billions that you mentioned in your presentation when net energy metering is not addressed?
Right. So in my presentation, I cited one point that is on the record by the CPUC's Public Advocate's Office. And I should clarify that there are other points that are on the record as well, and it is a disputed issue of fact. But because the Public Advocate's Office has this function of looking at ratepayer impacts. I gave that as one example of an estimate. And so what the Public Advocate's Office estimates is that the current cost shift is $3.37 billion as of 2021, and could grow to as much as $6.7 billion in 2030 if left unchanged.
Thank you. So just to state for the record, the cost shift in not addressing net energy metering, which hurts renters and low-income families, would be at the tune of $6.7 billion if not addressed by 2030. Correct? Based on what you just said.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
So in that back and forth conversation that you just watched, the CPUC official tries to cover for himself by noting that there are other perspectives out there. But notice how he never actually says what those perspectives are. No mention that rooftop solar helped to save $2.6 billion in 2018 alone. No mention that rooftop solar could help to save $120 billion over the next 30 years. No mention that some of the top experts in the field have shown that the $3 billion cost shift number is based on deceptive accounting methods. No mention that the companies that the CPUC has hired to do their research also do business with PG&E, SoCal Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric. No mention that when the Public Advocate was asked to justify their so-called cost shift numbers, they provided a spreadsheet almost identical to the one used by the utilities themselves. That CPUC official made a choice. He chose to highlight the utilities' perspective and to omit the numerous other perspectives that are on the record. And in doing so, he made the utility perspective seem like an established fact. And this suggests that the CPUC is incapable of being an independent steward of the facts. It suggests that lawmakers are listening to the CPUC without looking under the hood and really trying to understand what's really going on. And it confirms something we've been saying for a while, which is that we need Governor Newsom to take a stand. He needs to step in and he needs to take charge of the situation. And that's not going to happen unless you speak up. So please join the fight to save rooftop solar. You can learn more and you can take action at our website, www.solarrights.org. Come on down and get involved. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.